when you leave what's not good, you wash the dust off your feet and you don't look back. And that's a very harsh lesson. When people are beset with a catastrophe, like let's say the death of their father, that they are prone to use that as an excuse for not going about the business that they should be going about. Because they can say to themselves, well, I would accept. And accept, there's always good reasons. I mean, believe me, there's always good reasons for not doing what you should. That's for sure. The reasons pile up day after day to not do what you should. Especially because you're aiming at things in the future. You can put them off indefinitely, right? Because of the demands of the day. But these stories, they say a variety of things, you know, especially in combination. They say, when you leave somewhere terrible, do not look back. There's no nostalgia. That's the letting the dead parts of yourself go. And then if you're going to follow the good, there's no excuse not to do it, and it means no excuse whatsoever under any circumstances. And then it's taken even farther with regards to familial relationships. It is, you can't even let them stand in your way. And I think that's all true. And I think I've seen virtually all of that in my clinical practice. Like, there's no excuse whatsoever for not getting at what it is that you should be doing. And I think there's something else that's going on here, especially in the New Testament stories, which is even maybe worse, which is it's absolutely reprehensible to justify your inaction with a catastrophe that extracts mercy from other people, right? There's a tricky game that's going, well, of course I can't do that. Look at the terrible thing that's just happened to me. It's, yeah, okay, I understand. You're absolved of any necessity to move forward because of your current catastrophe. It's like, well, actually you're not. And it's rather rude of you to use it as an excuse. And it's certainly counterproductive. The catastrophe of Sodom and Gomorrah, essentially, the ethical catastrophe of Sodom and Gomorrah, the dissolution of the civilized constraints that should regulate all behavior. And then the city is destroyed, but there's an echo of it afterwards, right? Because Lot had lived in Sodom and Gomorrah. And what happens to him, even after he escapes, is that he gets tangled into an incestuous web. And so I think that it's not foreshadowing, it's post-shadowing, if there's such a thing. It's an echo it's an echo and a reminder of how terrible whatever it was that was happening in Sodom and Gomorrah was. That even after escaping, the iniquity still remained. There are a lot of books that people have historically regarded as great. You might as well start by assuming that they're at least greater than you, right? And to approach them with that frame of mind. Because even if there's much in them that perhaps is no longer relevant, often less than people assume, there's much in them that will be of extreme benefit to you. And then with regards to making them yours, the kind of wisdom that you get from great books is practical wisdom, and you act it out. And so then what you do is you try to incorporate what you learn into your life, into your practices. And then if you incorporate it into your life and your practices, you build a bridge between you and the great idea, right? Because you figured out how to manifest itself in the conditions of your own life. That's something like making the archetypal personal, which is the right thing to do, right? It's the proper thing to do, because that expands your life upward and outward and ennobles you and brings you up as well. But so humility is part of it. It's like, approach these books as if they have something to teach you. And then it's humility again in the second place, is don't take the ideas to yourself until you've lived them. There'll be lots of time for that. And besides, you know, even as a young person, it's not like you have nothing to say. But the only things that you have to say are your things to say. And it's not necessarily that easy to figure out what they are. But read everything great you can get your damn hands on.